painting a vintage cross-stitch pattern on my baby's nursery wall. I just did the math and I'm going to need to paint over 8,000 stitches. I probably should have thought this through a little bit better. But speaking of thinking, I had to think of the best way to get a grid onto the wall, and I settled on getting these giant pieces of paper printed at Staples that are 36 inches by 48 inches. Initially, I wanted to use our projector, but A, it's in a box somewhere, and B, I don't think the room is big enough for me to get the image projected at the proper size, so I had to find a way to do it by hand. So I used charcoal and I shaded in the whole back side of this paper, and then I taped it to the wall and traced over the grid lines. Each of the little squares are 1.8 inches big. So if I did my calculations right, I should be able to fit the whole cross-stitch pattern on these two walls. This was totally throwing me back to like the first grade when we would get leaves or random things from outside and take their little impressions. But anyways, I was crossing my fingers that this was going to work how I'd hoped, and after a couple hours of on and off work, I pulled back the paper and it was literally perfect. I decided I'm going to work in sections because I was really eager to start painting to see if this is even going to turn out. So I labeled all of my little jars of paint, 25 sample jars to be exact, and then I got to work painting some of the X's in the first section, working color by color. But at this point, it's 9 p.m., so I'm going to call it a night, so come back tomorrow to see the progress.